Let's continue working through the adpositions. This one is saying John 8, 3 kinds of fruit. And we haven't yet specified the generic genitive here. Okay, John 8, 3 kinds of fruit. It's very tempting to say this is a Norman genitive because it has the word of. But this isn't actually a Norman genitive. Norman genitives come after the head noun. The people of Israel, the king of Israel is the Norman genitive. 3 kinds of fruit. This noun phrase, this modifying noun phrase, precedes the head noun. So this isn't a Norman genitive. Let's set this is a prenominal genitive. Let's set it that, so kinds of fruit, kinds of food, kinds of animals. Let's copy the first one to all of these. These are prenominal genitives. And let's see what we get. John 8, 3 kinds fruit. So we need the word of in here. When kinds modifies, when a noun phrase containing kind modifies another noun, that's sort of a unique construction. Let's go use this rule over here. Let's add a new structure. Okay, so this is generic genitive. We don't want this anymore. This isn't a Norman genitive. Let's add the word kind here. So this will only apply to a generic genitive with the word kind in here. So when you have that structure, we want a new translation. This should be the word of. And we want this to be 3 kinds of fruit. We want the phrase final of. And I think that will do it. Our other rule set this to pre-head genitival. Let's try that. John 8, 3 kinds of fruit. Generated text is identical. Let's save it. Let's keep going. John read 2 of, John read 2 of those 3 books. So 2 of, we have the subgroup marker, which I mentioned in an earlier video. This isn't a noun-noun relationship marker. Subgroup only goes into adjective phrases with a cardinal number or a quantity like all or many. So let's write a rule. Let's see what we get right now. John read, it should be John read 2 of those 3 books. So this adjective phrase that contains a subgroup marker should precede the prenominal. So this will be sort of a special adjective phrase. Let's write a rule that will, it'll apply to the subgroup marker. This will be an adposition issue. Let's say adjective phrases that contain the subgroup marker tagged as subgroup. So we want an adjective phrase, and we'll have the subgroup marker. Okay, so we want to position these. You don't need to put the embedded, the noun phrase around this adjective phrase. That's okay. TBTA will find it. And in the output structure, we need to set a feature. This isn't really attributive or predicative. This is a new usage. So let's add a new value to that usage feature. So we'll go to adjective phrases, usage. We'll call this subgroup. Okay. So now this option is available. We'll tag this as subgroup. And let's generate it now. John read those 2 of 3 books. Okay. Now usage is set to subgroup. If we rest our cursor there, features change from usage equals attributive to subgroup. So that rule worked. A subgroup should be linked to, this is the same problem we had in another example. It's linked to that of that goes at the end of the phrase. We want to delink it from that of and link it to this of. Okay, and you may remember in a previous video I said the rules up here set features and build structures, and the rules down here add the morphology and order the constituents according to those features. So far all we've done is set the features. Let's generate this again. Okay, John read those 2 of 3 books. So we've set this feature. Now the usage is subgroup. Now we need to respond to that feature down here. So let's go to the phrase structure rules for noun phrases. And okay, this is something like Mary's. This is obsessive. John read 2 of. Okay, so that the subgroup adjective phrase will need to even precede this. John read 2 of Mary's 3 good big red books. So let's put a new adjective phrase in here, and it will be subgroup. And we want it up there at the top. John read 2 of those 3 books. Good, generated text is identical. John cut the roots of that tree. Okay, we have the same problem again. We want to link this part whole. We want to delink it from this one and link it to this one. John cut the roots of that tree. Let's save it. John saw 1 liter of wheat. While we're here, we don't need the theta grid adjustment rule for the cardinal number 1. So let's tag it as unnecessary. Okay, John saw 1 liter of wheat. John saw 1 liter of wheat. A man named John wrote this book. Generated text is identical. Let's save it. John read that book 3 times. Okay, iteration. We'll link this to the blank space. This isn't a noun marker. And while we're here, we don't need the theta grid adjustment rule for cardinal numbers, so let's set this one unnecessary. John read that book 3 times. Good. Let's save this. Now if we go back, they all look good. Again, I would encourage you to occasionally regenerate all of your text. So now we'll regenerate nouns 1:1 to Adpositions 121. We don't want to save it, we want to compare it. We want to make sure that none of the new rules that we changed or edited, none of those adversely affected text that we've already saved that we know is proper. So we're going to save this, and I'll do a time lapse here. Okay, so we see that 2 sentences changed. Let's go look at these. John was afraid of those people. I'm guessing our theta grid adjustment rule for afraid inserts the adposition of, but not the right one. John was afraid. Right, it's inserting the of, but it's the one that's set to the phrase final. So let's go to our theta grid adjustment rule for afraid. Yeah, it's inserting the phrase final one. So let's change this. We want the phrase initial one. And let's delete that. Okay. John was afraid of those people. That fixed that one. Which one else was different? Okay, so this one, we know it's the same, but I just want to show you. We can regenerate it from here. Okay, so now it matches. So now let's eliminate this one from the list of differences. Remove this reference from the list with differences. Mary's proud of John. I'm sure the same thing is going on. We can go to the rule for theta grid adjustment rule for proud down here. Right there. Yes, it's inserting the sense of that has a phrase final feature. So let's do the same thing here. We want the phrase initial one. And let's delete this one. Okay. Let's regenerate this. Mary's proud of John. Regenerated text is identical to the saved text. Okay, so now we can remove this from the list, and everything matches. Just to be safe, you might want to regenerate the entire list again. That's not necessary, but it's a good idea whenever you edit your grammar rules, occasionally regenerate all of your text to make sure everything is still proper. So we're finished with the adpositions, and next, I think, comes the pronouns. Yes, we're ready to start working on the pronouns.